All in all, for today's video, we're going to have a little walk around, a little introductory look at the latest Benly project. So, without further ado, via eel and the conveniently located box of Benly bits, a fish box, very useful to have, we will go over here to the project. There she is. Now, if we deal with the elephant in the room first, which you can see from a country mile away, let's remove that panel, that the seat is ruined. Well, there's the vinyl, which you can see for yourself, and if we go under here, there's quite a lot of rust in the seat base, i.e. there is no seat base left. So unfortunately, that seat is only fit for the bin, which is annoying because they're not particularly easy to come by, and I passed one up about 2 weeks ago. They do also cost a few pennies. On that note, I will actually at some point detail the maths of this build for those of you who are interested in that sort of thing. If we go down here to where I was just looking the other day, we will note that the starter solenoid has gone for a little walk. That does lead me to be slightly suspicious that the seller's comment that the bike was running and riding when it was parked might have been a lie. But not too disastrous, as the fish box does contain another starter solenoid. Side panels here, which I'm quite pleased to see. There is only one, so I need to find another, but it does say Clevedon Motorcycles. So that's the selling dealer, as it matches the info on the number plates. That's quite nice to have. Tank doesn't look too bad. Bit of patina on the top, which I like a bit of patina. So it's all solid as well, so that's quite nice to have. I'm not going to open it because you'll then end up seeing the roof of the garage as I fall flat on my back. We will be cleaning that out. I tend to like to use molasses, actually. It's environmentally friendly. It's about 9:1, 10:1 ratio with water. You can pour it away, it won't cause any damage. I have heard people say you can drink it, but I wouldn't recommend it. So it wouldn't be very friendly. First thing that's also noticeable over here is that the clutch lever is very bent, and if we give it a squeeze, it isn't really doing anything. The clutch arm does actuate on the side of the engine, so I think it's just the lever needs adjusting, but I have actually got a spare one of those, so that will be put in the bin, because I think that's beyond straightening out. It will probably snap if you try and straighten it. Obviously the bike is clearly gone down on its left hand side at some point, as it's further supported by the bent gear selector down there. I haven't actually got a spare one of those annoyingly, but I think a bit of heat should straighten that out. Moving here, we see a little pet peeve of mine. This one, we have a nice plastic ring. And in this one, we don't. I wouldn't even mind if we didn't on both of them, but we can't have them not matching. And I do actually happen to have another one of these in the spare stash, so that will be swapped as well. Now, over here, the front brake is broken. It's actually very solid, that. I think, because we have a front drum, that what we're looking at is the spring that releases the actuator arm to release the shoes inside the drum is probably solid, so with a bit of WD-40, hopefully it'll free off, otherwise we'll be stripping that down and seeing what's what. Not too much of a disaster. I do have some spare brake shoes lying around, although I have been kind of hoping to hang on to those for a service and tinker with the other Bentley over there. Other noticeable point on this one is that the front mudguard is rusted in the middle. They all rust there, but this is quite an achievement because that's actually a patent mudguard. Patent mudguard, unless I'm much mistaken, someone has decided to rattle can black, because I think that's chrome under there. They all go in the middle because, as you can see, there's an arch-shaped bracket that mounts onto the forks, and in turn is then pop-riveted onto the mudguard itself, and all the mud goes along the wheel, up there, into the gap, and rusts out from the middle. So that, I suspect, will be in the bin as well. Annoying, because an original front mudguard is extraordinarily expensive and very hard to come by. I mean, the one on RT over there actually came down from northern Scotland, if I remember correctly. And apparently at £75 was a bargain, someone told me the other day. So we will not be buying another one of those. I think as the back mudguard is plastic, we'll get a plastic one for the front as well. So, but all things considered, the throttle pings back nicely. A very viable, a very nice little project, which we will crack on with soon, and I'll be documenting as well. We'll First port of call will be to begin the strippage, which will be the seat, the tank, so we can expect the wiring. Hopefully it'll just be the wiring down there we need to fiddle with, because I don't particularly want to start getting involved in the headlight if I can possibly avoid it, because obviously the switch gear to wiring and ignition wiring lives on there. And we have the key, so we don't need to swap the ignition barrel over, which is quite nice to start with. But there we are, there's the little introduction, and the next video should be the beginning of the strippage.